Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's continue implementing the presentation layer under the authentication feature. So under components, let's create a new folder. I'm gonna call it login. Add here a new file. It's gonna be login form and another file. It's a related view model, if you will, which is a Pinia store. It's gonna be called login store. So we need actually the email, password, add a state management to toggle the visibility of the passwords. It's going to be read only. Is password visible? Read only, it's going to be for loading indicator when the user is going to log in. Once the authenticated user failed to provide the correct credentials, I would like to show an alert message within the form indicating that the user has provided the wrong credentials. So I'm going to call it alert text. Let's control its visibility. Now let's initialize. For the validation, I'm going to call it email rules. What we have to do here is it's going to be an anonymous function, Boolean, so whether it's true or false, depending on the value of the email. Or it could be a string giving us the text for validation. So we would like to show multiple messages here. So in order to show multiple messages when validation, it's going to return an array. To control whether the email is required, we're going to test on email. Otherwise, we will show the message, the email is required. And again, you can add these messages to your constant or your local, or however you want to handle your local messages. The second case, user is providing a wrong formatted email. I'm gonna share with you guys some rejects that I've prepared for validation of the email and for the validation of the password under constant. So I prefer to do it here in the core module. So these are the two regular expressions to validate the email, and this one to validate the password that we have done. It's gonna have one uppercase, the length is gonna be 8, at least one number and one symbol and one uppercase character. Let's come back to the login form, constant rejects. According to the email value, if we don't have a valid regex or a valid email, we're going to show this message, please provide a valid email. Password rules. So as usual, going to do here password. If the password is empty, we're going to show this message, please provide. We forgot here string, that's why is required. Another helper function or computed property is valid. Basically, it's going to return this email rules. It's going to check all the criteria has been respected. For each rule, this email equal true, which means that the rule is valid, and this password rules, this password, and it should be true. So we can call it a valid form. The first action is going to be to toggle the password, whether it's visible or not. Now the next method that we have to implement is the login method. I would like to use named parameters on logged in, used whenever the user has successfully authenticated. The second one on error, first of all, we have to test if this is a valid form. We're going to show the progress indicator in the login button. Let's initialize here the use case with the try catch. Finally, is loading equal false for the loading indicator. I'm just going to destruct the parameters, get the authenticated user. We can call reset to reset all the fields. And we're going to call the callback function on logged in by passing the authenticated user. So this is very simple. We have an exception. And if this error instance of API error, so we are talking about something that's happened within our API call on error, of course, it's not going to be able to get this because it's inside the try. We have to do is here basically. And we're going to show here the message alert visible. For the login form, nothing substantial. What we will need here as a props, because we're going to hoist some stuff here, I suggest to build first of all the form, see what we will need in our scripts. It's going to be vform. Submit, going to prevent default behavior. And we will define here login function. We will need here basically the store. If you decide to do this, your component is not going to be previewable in isolation. Gonna call store and login. We need to pass on logged in and on error. We would like to store the authenticated user in the local store as to do make auth store It's a good user experience to load the last settings. And for simplicity purposes, I decide to do for the settings of the app is just the theme. To do a load user preferred theme, I'm gonna create here some emit on logged in. You can do hide model if you will. So here I'm gonna call emit on logged in and emit. I think that this is useless. I'm gonna remove this. On logged in, it's gonna handle everything for us. And whenever we got an error, I'm going to store and patch. Going to change the alert text. No such user found with the given credentials. Once again, you can get the error message from Laravel, but we need to format the API error to match the same resource from Laravel. So that's pretty much it for the login function. I'm going to wrap this into container. If the alert is visible, I'm going to provide the alert. And I have added here the animation. I'm going to add another container here. So this is the email. We have to make our component testable, especially when we're going to do end-to-end test. So we need to find a way to tag or to identify this text field in order to fill the text field automatically by Cypress. So I have found a good way to do so. I'm going to add here a function and I'm going to bind it. I'm going to call it a test attribute email field inside the helper function in the UI core module. I'm going to add here another function. Whenever our application is running under production, we are not testing the app. We're not going to assign this attribute to the dev or wherever we want to apply this attribute. Otherwise, going to assign this data test with name to make it testable. With the same way, I'm going to add password. Whenever we have password visible, going to show this icon, otherwise this icon. And whenever we click on that append icon, we're going to call the toggle password visible. Add a new container that's gonna contain the register now. So I'm gonna add another container to allow user to switch form to register form. So I'm gonna add here a method. It's gonna call on toggle form type. So I'm gonna add it here. Another container, add here a divider. And after the divider, it's gonna be the two buttons, close button and login button. Basically, the close button is gonna hide the model. We will do here hide the model. Login button is gonna be of type submit button, and it has a property that's gonna show the progress indicator, and it's gonna be disabled when the request is in progress. Now let's do the same thing for the register. Here I'm gonna create a new folder. It's gonna be called register. New file is going to be register store, register form. So the needed state, first and last name, email, password, confirmation, and the visibility of password, the progress indicator, and whether the alert should be visible. Here we're not going to we have to handle two states basically for the alert type, whether it's going to be success or error, and the text to be displayed. So let's initialize the fields. And let's create the validation rules for the first and last name. If the length is, it's going to be valid when the length is more or equal than 5 characters, and otherwise it's going to show this error message. The same thing for the email, so it has to be a valid email. And for the password, I have added this rule, which is from the regular expression that I have declared in constant file. Otherwise, going to provide password with this criteria, and same thing, the confirmation password has to match the password, and we have to add the valid form in order to test if the form is valid. So checking here that the form is valid, add the methods to control the visibility of password and password confirmation. I would like to add the reset, my custom reset function, because I only want to reset first and last name, email, password, and password confirmation. So now let's implement the register function, and the params on registered. We will show here just an alert message, and on error, if the form is valid, show the progress indicator. Let's destruct fields, do try catch, and finally, so here I will do is loading equal false. We have to show the alert, so regardless, I'm gonna do alert visible equal true. So inside the try catch and use cases and register, first name, email, password, and password confirmation. I'm gonna call on registered. Then I'm gonna reset the fields. Make sure to call the reset that we have defined. The default one has the lead-in $sign. If we have an error of API error on error, as we have done in the login, and that's pretty much it. Let's go to the register form. First of all, let's create an instance of the view model. Next, let's define the emits and let's create the form. So basically, we're going to use the same structure as this one. So I'm going to copy the form. So instead of login, it's going to be register. And let's implement the function store.register on registered and on error. All right, on registered, I would like to do store patch alert type success and the alert text. We are glad to have you with us. Store.username. I'm gonna come back to the unregistered. I'm gonna be here string the username. Here I'm gonna pass this first and last name. So here I'm gonna do username. Okay, on error. So patch. So the type of alert is gonna be error. An error occurred. All right, this is the function basically. Now we're going to do on login. Maybe you have an account and you wanted to proceed to the login form. So going to do on toggle form type on hide model. For the fields, pretty much it's the same thing. Nothing special here. We have the first and last name, email, the password, toggling the visibility of the password, and because here, if you see here, we have the type of password. It's going to be text or password. In the WPF, believe it or not, it's not straightforward. We're going to suffer too much with WPF. And if we are already registered, we're going to emit this function. Whenever we are done, here it's going to be register. So basically what the toolbar is going to have, or it's going to be one simple button, whether to show press a button to log in or to use the button for the user menu. I'm going to create here another folder. It's going to be called toolbar, of course, state manager and the components. And I would like to add here the form type. So login and register. We need a state for the visibility of the dialog. The form type, in case the user has successfully authenticated, we would like to see the wishlist count or how many items in the wishlist. We're going to add one last state, which is should animate. That's going to control whether the form should be animated or not. Let's initialize those. To control the menu for the user, it's going to contain 3 menu items. One for controlling the or managing the wishlist of the current user, another one for toggling the theme from dark theme and light theme, and another one for to log out the user. Let's control the title of the dialog. It will return if the current form type is login. We're going to display here login. Otherwise, it's going to be register. Convenient methods that we will do is, for example, open model and to close the model. Another method is going to toggle the form type. After doing so, we need to launch the animation. Should animate equal true. One function that we have to implement here, it's going to be logout on logged out. And again, this callback function is going to be used when the user has successfully logged out from the application, and we will show snack bar components. Do try and catch and use cases and logout and params on logged out. To implement the toolbar component, it's going to consist of one button. We will control the visibility of the button from the authenticated user to switch between the button is going to allow to show the login form and the register form or the user menu. I'm going to do here VUE3. This button has to be at the end of our layout. If the user is authenticated, we're going to show a state, we're going to show the user menu. If it's not authenticated, we're going to show a button to allow the user to open the dialog, align equal center, and let's add some padding. If it's not authenticated, it's going to be a normal button. So first of all, I'm going to add the attribute for testing, append icon, serial design, login. The variant of the button is going to be text. Foreground is going to be white. We click on the button, going to show the dialog. Use toolbar store. So toolbar store, open dialog or open model. Underneath, I'm going to add here another row. I want the model to be placed at the center of the screen. To control the visibility, toolbar store is model visible. Transition. And the width of the dialog is going to be 500. Let's wrap everything within a card. So the title of the toolbar depends on the title that we have done or the form type. Now for the content of the dialog. So if it's a login form, we're going to animate and if it's, of course, it's animated or should animate, we're going to apply this animation from the library animate CSS, and we're going to show our login form. We're going to define afterward this feedback message. And if we are dealing with the, let's change the animation for the form type register. We're going to apply this zoom in, and we're going to show our components. So for this dialog transition, enter and leave, we're going to transition with ease in out with the duration of 0.2 seconds. Show, let's start with this show authentication feedback function. Simply, we're going to display a snack bar view or snack bar components to tell the user that you have logged out successfully. And the snack bar controller, it's going to be success, content, message, and we need to set the props, and we have to pass the text that we would like to display. I would like to show the username in a different font, or at least it should be in a bold weight. So in order to do so, I'm not going to use this message. I'm going to create a component that's going to be called authenticated message. Only one prop, span, text subtitle one. We'll come back, strong, props, username. I'm going to add space here. So going to use this in our toolbar. So instead of message, I'm going to do authenticated user. Instead of text, it's going to be username. For the username, we need to access it somehow. We need to create some kind of store that's going to handle for us the authentication state. I'm just going to add here to do add auth store or something like this. If the user is authenticated, we have to do something here. It should be a menu. So to create a menu in Vuetify, it's very simple. Do menu, template of the menu, who's the activator of the menu. Let's add the tooltip. The tooltip should wrap the component that you want to add for it a tooltip. So it's going to be an icon button. Whenever we click on this button, the menu should be expanded. So we need to import the function merge props from view, menu, and tooltip. Whenever we click on the button, let's call or let's hoist this method. Why? Because I would like whenever the user click on this user menu, we need to refresh or load the data, the latest data from database. So we can sync or to keep the database and user data in sync. Const emit. So here we're going to do the avatar primary variant, and the text that's going to be displayed within text body 2 on primary, and font it's going to be weight bold. Inside we need to put here the username, or let's call them initials. Here we're going to define the props for this component. So it's going to be initials. We would like to display the wishlist count. We're going to put the initials from props. Here we're going to do the contents of our tooltip. Span, account, settings. Now let's define the contents of the menu itself. So it's going to be vcard, and within the card, let's do the minimum width 300 to display those items in vertical sequence. So the first item, it's going to be the wishlist manager. Whenever we click on this item, we're going to navigate to the wishlist manager and showing us a badge. Within the badge, there is the wishlist count. On wishlist, click. The second item, it's going to be a theme toggle that we have used before. And whenever we click on this item, we need to hoist this method. I'm going to call it dark theme. All right. On toggle theme. And we have to provide here is dark theme. From here, can do is dark theme selected or is dark theme. I guess it's enough. Props is dark theme. And I'm gonna add the rest of the functions here. Value, boolean, and we're gonna do emit on toggle theme, nullable. And we need to use the components here. So the first parameter that we have to provide, the count of wishlist. We need the initials is dark theme on wishlist click on logged out. Let's get this out of the way. Logged out click on logged out. Basically, we're going to show a snack bar message, success, and instead it's going to be a message and text. You have logged out successfully. And of course, we forgot to do here show. Right now we have just showed the snack bar message. So I'm gonna do store. So we have to use here toolbar store and logout. On logged out, we will show the snack bar. It's not enough because we have to clear our storage, our local storage. We should navigate to the home screen. Otherwise, we are gonna end up in a private route and we don't want any weird behavior. Just add here some comments to do clear storage and navigate to home screen. I'm gonna add here a function that's gonna navigate to a screen. Use router, and we will do, perhaps it's gonna throw an exception navigating. So here I'm going to do navigate, constant, screens, and home screen. On wishlist click, we're gonna do navigate, and let's define here a new screen, manager screen. Manager screen, the theming here, and I guess that it's time to add the state here in the toolbar store is dark theme. We have to pass the initials and wishlist count. So what we're gonna do is, this is the last step for this authentication, which is very, not complicated, but it doesn't require a lot of work, especially the presentation layer. The idea that came to my mind is basically to use here to create a new folder. It's going to be called Auth, and this folder is going to contain only one store. It's going to be Auth store. It's like a local storage, if you will. So it's going to differ a little bit of a normal Pinia store because it's a Pinia local storage. And here in the state, instead of doing a normal state, we need to save the state in the local storage. Constant stored state. I don't know if we have downloaded this dependency or not. So I'm going to install the Vue use core. npm install. And here we have to provide storage key. Declare this in constant under the core auth storage. And we need to provide the initial state. Initial state is the authenticated user. And the other state is going to be the theme. So for the authenticated user by default, it's going to be null. And for the theme, it's going to be the light theme by default. And we have to provide local storage and to merge the default true. And this should return stored state and the value. So it's not here. Again, it's not here. Sorry for that. It's going to be right here. If the user is authenticated, it's basically going to check if the user is available on the local storage. Use here the user's initials, first letter of the first name and the last letter of the last name, which I call it string avatar. So for the string avatar, I'm just going to give you the implementation directly. If the authenticated user, null, return empty. Otherwise, it's going to return string avatar name to uppercase. Now for the actions, we need to add an asynchronous function. It's going to check if the user is still authenticated or not. So we can use the use case get authenticated user. Let's wrap this with try catch. Const user. Let's get the authenticated user latest data. So basically we're going to refresh the user data. So use cases, get authenticated user, update the current user. And if we have an error, we're going to clear the storage. So clearing the storage, we're going to do it right now. What we're going to do here for clearing the storage is we will set the authenticated user to null, and we will remove all the saved items in the local storage. Another useful method, it's going to be called as soon as the user has successfully authenticated. I'm going to call it initialize, so we can initialize the storage from user. A new function is going to be called toggle theme. So this is the Auth storage is going to handle for us the authentication as well as checking if the user is authenticated and handling, if you will, some kind of caching here for the theming and settings. So we're going to use this in the toolbar, use auth. So here I'm going to put the username and authenticated user name. It's because it's nullable, empty string. Clear the storage. If the authenticated user is available, we're going to show this menu item. The wishlist count is going to be available from wishlist authenticated user. And because it's nullable, so basically this is just a safety measure because you don't need actually to do this. In case authenticated user is null, we're going to show this part of the component. But just in case, I'm going to do here 0. And initials, auth, and authenticated user, name, otherwise it's going to be empty string. Make auth store. Yeah, we need to continue here because use auth store, initialize from user. I'm going to pass the user, and here we're going to load the theme. So that's pretty much it. I guess that we are done with the login as well as with the register. Yeah, I'm mistaken here. So we're not going to show this one because we have done initials or user initials, computed property. It's authenticated, not authenticated user. If user is authenticated, this is a computed property from testing if the user is null or not null. So if the user is authenticated, we're going to show the user menu. We have provided the wishlist count as well as the initials computed property from the user and from the username using the string avatar, and is dark theme is going to be from toolbar and is dark theme just to toggle the needed wishlist. We need to provide here the method on toggle theme. The same thing as we done here. Gonna copy this one. Toolbar store patch is dark theme equal value, and for the saving of the dark theme, we're gonna do auth and the toggle theme like this. But I think that we need to set theme instead of toggle theme. So I'm gonna add here a set theme or set current theme method that we have done before, reload theme and set theme. So in the login form, reload theme, and in the toolbar is dark theme, readable is dark theme. I'm going to provide here dark theme, light theme, and vice versa. So let's come back here and we will pass is dark theme. So on toggle theme, it should be attached here. So we have forgot the last item, but we did not use this one, click, on click. So we have to use it in the toolbar, check authenticated user, or you can call it refresh data or whatever you want. So function, check authenticated user, and we will use auth check. So it's going to be async and await. So I guess that's pretty much it. Now let's go ahead and wrap up this authentication feature. I'm just going to add an index file here. So I'm going to create here a preview, user menu, preview, copy everything from here and try to simulate what we have in the toolbar. Authenticated user, it's going to be null by default. I'm going to create a mock data for the authenticated user. I'm going to use it here in the global store. Going to be user from preview. We can call this mock user. So it's going to be store, authenticated user, wishlist, and length. The initials, let's come back in the getters. Well, it has to be called user initials. Is dark theme, it's going to be dark theme. On wishlist click, I'm going to do here on wishlist click. You can call it actually in on wishlist manager click. On logged out, it's going to be on logged out. We're going to define it afterward. On toggle theme, do the same thing as we have done in the switch preview. On click, going to check authenticated user. I'm not going to do anything here. So npm run UI previews. So I'm going to leave this one empty. Account settings. When we click on, we have the number of icon or number of wishlist and logouts. Change the user. All right, so we are changing the theme. Now let's toggle on light theme and logout. It's working fine. So our component is working fine. It's gonna wrap up this video. So if you want to test, keep in mind, if you want to test this component, you have to hoist all the states and dependencies in order to make your component stateless. and testable. So this component right now, it's not testable by any means, because it uses the use auth store, and this is not a mocked view model. So you have to mock, either you have to mock the view model, or you have to mock the dependencies, or to hoist the needed dependencies. And if you try to do so, you're gonna suffer, and I don't recommend this approach. At the end of the day, we're going to do end-to-end tests, and for me, it's more than enough for this tutorial. So I hope you liked the video, and see you in the next one, and happy coding!